Hello and welcome to Southside News Today. I'm Chuck Vipperman reporting. Southside News Today is presented by the Chatham Tribune, Nicholas Drone Service, Dorton Insurance Agency on Piney Forest Road, and by Shanks Associates, engineers, surveyors, and planners. Danville Police are investigating a Thursday afternoon bank robbery that happened just before 1 o'clock Thursday afternoon at Carter Bank and Trust on South Main Street. Witnesses described the robber as a black male in his 50s, perhaps 60s. He was wearing a white shirt, ball cap, jeans, and a COVID mask. He was driving a white work van with North Carolina plates. Police released surveillance video Thursday afternoon, hoping someone could identify the bank robber. A police report did not list the details on the robbery. Anyone with information can call Danville Crime Stoppers at 434-793-0000. A Danville man who sold a fatal dose of fentanyl nearly 4 years ago will serve 12 years in a federal prison. 49-year-old Chauncey Lamont Montague pleaded guilty back in March to distribution of fentanyl. In October 2019, Montague sold $20 worth of heroin to a woman who later died from a fentanyl overdose. The next morning, Danville Police served a search warrant at Montague's house and found over 8 grams of fentanyl in the pocket of a jacket in his bedroom. He was originally charged locally, but Danville Commonwealth Attorney Michael Newman says his office and Danville Police decided the case would be best handled in the federal system. Montague was the second person arrested in the probe. 28-year-old Damian Reed was also charged and served 2 years for distribution. North Carolina lawmakers sounding a lot more confident about the prospects of approving additional casinos. Right now, the only ones in North Carolina are on tribal land. House Speaker Tim Moore says there's a bill being drafted that would authorize 4 new casinos in designated entertainment districts. That would include Rockingham County, just south of Danville, along with Nash and Anson counties. The bill would also legalize video lottery terminals in bars and restaurants across North Carolina. The 4 entertainment districts could also feature hotels, restaurants, and housing. A recent study estimated those 3 casinos would generate about $1.6 billion in North Carolina gaming revenue annually. That same report also estimated the so-called casino leakage to Virginia at over $250 million a year. Caesars temporary casino in Danville took in more than $30 million in its first 6 weeks. Eden State Senator Phil Berger says he saw 80% of the cars outside Caesars had North Carolina plates during a recent visit. A developer with ties to the Maryland casino industry is asking for a rezoning of 200 acres of land near Madison on Route 220. That's about 30 minutes southwest of Danville. The second round of reassessment is underway in Pittsylvania County. Fred Pearson with the Pearson Group updated the Board of Supervisors this week. They've begun analyzing more than 53,000 pieces of property. The original reassessment from Bright Minds was thrown out last year after a bevy of complaints from landowners. But Pearson says the assessment values will be going up.
We'll have ample people here to make sure that people do not have to wait long. That they can come in, and there's going to be 3 ways that they can appeal.
Pearson says average home sales prices in the county practically doubled over the past 4 to 5 years.
It's just going to be a large increase. I can tell you, and it's just not happening here. It's everywhere when these reassessments go into. Like some are more and some are a little less.
Chatham Blair Supervisor Bob Warren is asking folks to be patient after they get their reassessment estimates later this year.
Because you're hearing a number of 50% doesn't mean your net bill is going up 50%. The board will have the option to reduce the rate from 62 to whatever is necessary to bring it back in line. So I would ask our citizens to not panic when they first start getting it.
Any revenues collected from the new assessment values won't come until the 2025 fiscal year. Another milestone in the renovations underway at the Dan River Falls project. Contractors installed the first new windows on the top floor Thursday. A couple of weeks ago, teams began installing the framing of some of the apartments that'll go on the top 3 floors in the western 2/3 of the building. That first phase of renovation is expected to take about 2 years. The first floor and the eastern third of the second floor will be renovated into commercial space. The lowest level will include 219 interior parking spaces for tenants. Future renovations will include turning the nearby canal into a whitewater feature. Another big honor this week for the Danville Police Department. They were officially presented with the Virginia Law Enforcement Professional Standards Commission reaccreditation certificate at Tuesday's Danville City Council meeting. Chief Scott Booth says they met 191 law enforcement standards in the process, and this ain't their first rodeo.
This is our 7th accreditation. This agency was first accredited in 1999. So consistently, we have upheld those standards, procedures, and policies that allow us to be an accredited agency in the state of Virginia.
Danville Police Department, one of only 5 in Virginia to also receive international accreditation. 2 more graduating classes honored this week by Project Imagine, including their first female class. Project Imagine's an award-winning community violence intervention program that steers teens away from gang activity. They were able to hold separate classes because they now have 2 female outreach workers. Project Imagine develops and maintains relationships with mentors, focusing on goals like improving grades, finishing school, and getting a job. A Project Imagine outreach worker is assigned to mentor each youth for at least a year. Since the program's inception, 19 classes totaling more than 100 teenagers have graduated. The local food pantry needs your help. Karen Harris, executive director at God's Storehouse, says demand has shot up this year, beginning around March.
A lot of the food stamp benefits were cut because of a lot of the COVID subsidies and everything, all that got eliminated about that time. So after March, we have really started seeing a lot more customers come to us. We've seen a lot more people that haven't been to us since 2018 or 2019.
Harris says that, coupled with inflation, has proved to be a double whammy this summer.
Last year, we were averaging about 109 families a day on the 3 days that we serve. And now we're definitely over that. We're like 140 a day. And we typically see like the 3rd week of the month when money starts running out and before the food stamps hit, we are starting to see like on average 200 people or more a day.
And the timing could not be worse. Harris says summer usually means less in the way of donations.
The faith communities are on just kind of a very skeletal schedule. They're not as active in the summertime because of vacations. School's not in session. People are on vacation. It just things just tend to slow down during this time of year.
Wilkins & Company and the Riverview Rotary Club are conducting special food drives for God's Storehouse. Harris says they're in particular need of staples.
We'll take anything but things that we are completely out of, or peanut butter, cereal, any kind of breakfast, like, your oatmeals or breakfast bars, because we try to make our boxes very well rounded, so that they could make, breakfast, lunch, and dinner with. And we also need mac and cheese.
You can bring that food to any of God's Storehouse collection boxes at local Food Lion stores and at Bro Pete's on Westover Drive. And that is Southside News Today. I'm Chuck Vipperman reporting. Southside News Today is presented by Chatham Star Tribune, Nicholas Drone Service, Dorton Insurance Agency on Piney Forest Road, and by Shanks Associates, engineers, surveyors, and planners. I'm Chuck Vipperman. Have a great day.